Hey Sean, good morning.
Hi, Junaid, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Can you help me
Sweet.
with the pronunciation? Junaid or
Junaid, like
Junaid?
lemonade,
Okay, okay.
like laid back. A
So,
uh
Junaid, your audience, based on what I've looked at your podcast, is
mhm.
probably mostly very early stage entrepreneur, hobbyist, wants to convert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
And what are they looking for?
They're looking to take their passion to profit. Take their passion, and run with it and see how far they can go and what the possibilities are as somebody who's an entrepreneur or somebody who wants to become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what haven't they heard?
They've heard everything. I mean, they've been listening to 500 podcast episodes from
Yeah, yeah,
500 different guests.
yeah, yeah.
So,
What have they heard too often?
um, they've heard too often to go do the thing, go start, you know, power through, fail often, be resilient, those kind of things.
Okay, okay.
Where are you? Okay. This guy is not cooperating. I'm just waiting for my notes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up just here, something else up here.
Where are you based out of, Sean?
I'm out of Canada. I used to live on the West Coast. Now I'm sort of on the East Coast. I'm in Quebec City, which is a small city outside of Montreal.
In Quebec City. My friend, one of my good friends from there,
Oh yeah,
he said really great things about Quebec,
yeah, it's
Quebec
really.
City.
And where are you based out of?
I'm in Virginia.
Okay,
Yeah, Herndon area, close to DC. One thing I would like to ask you, see if you can bring your camera forward so you're closer to the top of the frame, and then also that make sure that the instead of zooming in, lean it forward so the frames are parallel to the sidelines. The frames behind you.
frame is parallel to the side. Like this frame behind me, like this thing.
Yeah, so the vertical lines should match the
Okay,
vertical
okay.
lines of the frame. Yeah.
All right, I could just blur it out.
No, I like the look of it. Even
Okay,
if you blur it out, you'll still see those lines.
okay.
Yeah.
So is this framing okay?
Framing is good, but if you can bring the camera like tilted more forward.
Then I'm gonna lose my head.
Oh. And are you standing?
I'm standing, yeah.
Can you lift up the camera higher?
I can get something under
Yeah, get some
the
like books or something.
yeah, I'll get something. How's that?
That's much better.
Good. That okay?
Awesome. Yes, that looks good. Sean, did we meet before? I can't remember.
No, we haven't met before. Oh,
Uh,
wait a minute. Did
we
you
had a
have a
group.
group meeting before? Yes, yes, we did.
June 6th is when we came in.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, that's
Awesome,
right.
awesome. All right,
Okay.
perfect. So let me hit.
And you know how to pronounce my name?
I know how to pronounce your name.
You don't, or you do?
Sean Languedoc.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
Is it close? How would you
Yeah,
say
it's
it?
close. It's in French, it's langue, like the language.
Longo. Okay.
Languedoc, yeah. But
Languedoc.
and then when you mention Outforce, please always add the .ai because we don't have the .com domain, and I don't want people going to the wrong place.
.ai for your website?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, towards the end, outforce.ai. Okay, perfect.
yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hacks and Hobbies. And today we're honored to have a guest who's been at the forefront of the tech industry for over 25 years. From navigating the intricate world of tech to building thriving businesses, Sean Languid, right,
It's a handful, isn't it?
is a handful CEO of Outforce.ai, has not only mastered the art of scaling startups, but also has also revolutionized the way companies view outsourcing. Sean, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Junaid, and pleasure to be here. Bless you.
Yeah, try to mute that.
I don't know if that
Um,
got silenced out, but he sneezed.
right, I sneezed a little bit, and then I was like, okay, just at the right moment. All right, so before we dive in, Sean, into the nuts and bolts of scaling a startup, can you share a bit
Mm.
about your journey, what got you into the tech industry, and what led you to focus on outsourcing as a strategic asset for companies?
Well, anytime you're growing fast, you sometimes need a resource that you don't have internally, and you need it fast. And so we like to say there's three ways of a trilemma, we call it. There's three ways of looking at it. You need
Mm,
speed, quality, and price. And you can't have all three. So if you sacrifice for quality because you want price, or you sacrifice for speed, you're sacrificing on time.
mm,
You can only have really two. And we as a service help companies get matched with outsourcing agencies only in the engineering space, and we focus on speed and quality because nobody wants to have to rewrite the code
mm,
when you're going for price. So that's what we do. And outsourcing can be anything, but we focus on engineering. It can be, you need outsourcing on your bookkeeping, you need outsourcing on your advertising, you go to an advertising agency. Who do you choose and how do you get there? That's a challenge. And that's what we solve for.
man, that's really powerful. And as building that startup, it's not a easy feat at all. And I love that you mentioned the trilemma. I hadn't heard of that name before, but I knew the three terminology. You can have fast and cheap, or you can have fast and pricey, or cheap and no quality.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be cheap. I mean, it doesn't
Right.
have to be pricey, but you focus on which two you really need, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and I really think in most cases, whether it's advertising or bookkeeping or brain surgery, you don't want to focus on price. You want to focus on quality and
Exactly.
then negotiate price. And
Yeah.
price is negotiable in anything, depending on the geography of where you're sourcing it from. So,
100%.
yeah.
Now, as you started the company, started a startup, Outforce.ai.
Mm,
Is it Outforce? Yeah, Outforce.ai.
correct.
What do you believe are the most crucial or early stage decisions founders need to make in order to set their companies up for successful scaling?
Outsourcing? That's a great question. And it depends on the stage. And my guess is most of your audience is early stage companies.
Mm-hmm.
I give this advice to founders all the time that in the days when I've been in 25 years, so I've had a few businesses. In the old days, you had the luxury of time to build out a product,
Mm,
to get to market, and then you could build out your marketing strategy and eke your way through and bootstrap a lot. Now with venture capital available at more readily and angel investors communities more readily available, money can deliver some speed to that. And now, especially with AI writing code so fast, your ability to penetrate the market is the most important thing. And to get there, you need a product. And to get the product, you need the talent to build the product. So what you used to do is you'd saddle up with another engine, and if you're the business owner and it's your passion and you want to go into something that you know a lot about, but you don't have the technology chops, you generally find a good friend who knows engineering, software engineering, or someone who you know who knows software engineering, and then you give them a big chunk of the company to get the first iterations built. Well, later in life, if that is a successful company, that equity could be worth a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that engineer who's really good at bootstrapping and, you know, putting duct tape and string together to get things up is not necessarily the engineer you need to take the company to the next level. And you can end up with a very challenging conversation about equity and value and what you need to do next. So my suggestion is find an engineering outsourcing agency that will give you fractional use of people who have done many products in the same space
Mm.
and who are experts in user experience, user graphics, user architecture,
Yeah.
database architecture, all the things that one person might be partially good at, whereas they might have five people who are experts at it and can lend that to you on a fractional basis. Get your product up, test it in the market,
Mm.
get your market share, early successes, iterate on it, and then start to build your engineering team. From there, you've actually got way more leverage in your negotiations with someone who you want to join the team. Say, hey, we've already got 10 customers and we're starting to make revenue, and because of that, we're getting investors, and on and on. Whereas if you start from zero, you have no leverage.
That's so true because all you have is time, and unless you have the knowledge of actually building out something, it's slim picking for you, like they say.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Now you've redefined outsourcing for many companies, and you also shared why outsourcing can help a lot of the people, because not only are you getting the expertise, but you're also getting the experience that they're bringing to your company. That's why so many companies uh, outsource and find the really good agencies and companies to help them level up. Can you share why outsourcing is often misunderstood and how entrepreneurs can better leverage it to their advantage?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have bad experiences with outsourcing.
Mm,
Maybe because they thought they'd go to another country where it's super cheap
yeah,
and get really low cost engineers. Well, low cost engineers are going to deliver
low
low
cost code.
quality products, right? Um, so so what a lot of people do, because you're inundated with unsolicited offers from these outsourcing agencies every
Oh
day.
my god.
I'll build you a website. I'll build you your mobile app, blah, 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 blah. It's white noise. They all sound the
Mm-hmm.
same. The truth is, there's a lot of good agencies out there. They're just
Yeah.
hard to find. And so the first thing you do, because you don't trust the market, is you go to your friend. Hey, Junaid, do you know anybody who's good at blah, blah, blah? And you may know an agency that you've had experience with, but it might be someone who's really good at marketplaces for beekeeping supplies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're good at building marketplaces. But I'm in health tech, and you need to know about HIPAA and all kinds of regulations around electronic medical records.
Yeah.
It's much more technical. So that agency might not be the right one for me. So finding through friends is a good way to look at agencies that potentially have good engineers, but they might not have the project experience that I need. I don't want to have to teach them about the business. The second, and then even if you find an agency that's good, that has good technical expertise in your domain,
Mm-hmm.
they might not have good engineers available when you're asking, because good engineers are always going to be booked out by that company. They don't want to have them sitting around waiting for you to call. They're
Exactly.
pushing them out and getting them used. So it's really a timing question. And if you go online and start looking, well, you're I don't want to say the word, but you're hosed. Like, because you'll end
Yeah.
up calling the ones that have the best marketing initiatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll speak to the lead person in that organization instead of the engineers that you're going to actually deal with. And they do those calls all day long. So they know
Yeah.
exactly what to say to make it sound like they're the perfect agency for you. And so therein lies the problem. So you really need to start with a lot of data on a lot of agencies to find the ones that are best suited for you, and then do a lot of due diligence on those agencies to figure out if they've got the right team at the right time for you. And
Mm-hmm.
most people don't have the time to do that. So they don't get the data and they make bad choices. And as a result, that's why 49% of projects don't work out well. And but that's kind of true of hiring as well. But it's a much bigger
True.
risk because it's a lot more money, a lot more engineers.
Yeah.
So we trying to mitigate that with a lot of data.
I love it. Data is definitely the answer. I'm always looking for the data when we're, buying a car, when you're buying a refrigerator, when you're buying, anything at all that we're purchasing, we look for that data, and that data definitely helps. That's why, data is so important when you're producing a podcast. Say, okay, which episode did really well? Which
Mhm.
episode did not? When did the people drop off? So you take that data and then you can adjust and make go moving forward. So your company has solved the data issue because you have so much data points, and you can say, hey, pinpoint, and filter down to say, hey, these four companies might be suited for what you're looking for. Now it's up to you to say if they match the culture, they match the thing that you're looking for, and go from there.
Yeah, and Junaid, you just nailed a word that is critical that a lot of people miss is culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your culture internally, and what's your communication style? All these things factor heavily. So, if you're going to and by the way, our database is 79,000 companies, so they range in lots of cultures and lots of
Mm-hmm.
locations. We like to say from next door to far shore. So it
Yeah.
could be right in your town or it could be right on the other side of the world. But the further away you go, you tend to have a bigger cultural distance.
Mm-hmm.
And that implies other things like communication style, work styles, hierarchical cultures,
Yeah.
which you often get in Southeast Asia, tend to have a more deferential culture. So they listen to the client, but they don't challenge the client.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, and whereas in North America, we tend to say, hey, no, that's messed up. You should do it this way. And you want that in North America. You want the feedback,
Yeah.
but they're too polite in other cultures, so they don't challenge. And then they end up doing what you asked for, and it's all wrong. And they said, well, we kind of said that. No, you didn't say that. So those kinds of things, or they need to
So
be
true.
told exactly what to do. There's a lot of people in some places where so they tend to what we call waterfall development
Mm-hmm.
methodology, and they just think pass things through, and
Yeah.
they just do their bit. Whereas you want someone in an early stage who's understands the full nature of the product and thinks about the consequences of what they're doing on the
Yeah.
next product. So those are things that can go wrong in evaluating other outsourcing agencies.
I love that, because once you have that culture shock, and that's why they call it a culture shock. Like, wait, you do it this way? Apparently, my one of my friends, he's in Japan, and he said the experience that you have, the McDonald's experience in Japan, is, it's nowhere else because they have a very specific style of serving, and because that's the Japanese culture. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. People are
Mhm.
using fork and knives for their burgers.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually used to have someone on our team who was had a master's in the neurology of cultural adoption.
Mm.
And when you experience life in another culture, your brain, it's really called outcome expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So, in some, we if you have a business meeting in North America, it's, hey, you have a little bit of 5 minutes of get to know you, then start to talk about the business, and then the last
Yeah.
5 minutes is what are we going to do to follow up. In other cultures, you have to be four meetings in before you're allowed to talk about business, right?
Wow. That's crazy.
So people who
That's
come from that four meetings into the North American culture they're shocked, and
Mm-hmm.
their expectations are not the same.
Yeah.
Even going to a retail store where you come from a culture where everything is negotiable,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to Walmart and it's the lowest price is the law, and that's
Yeah.
it. Nothing's negotiable. Well, what do you mean? So the neurons in the brain hit a wall,
Mm.
and then when they hit that wall, it creates white noise in the brain, and that affects productivity. So if you're dealing in this mixed culture bag, um, and you don't understand these nuances, then you're going to hit some walls, and
Mm.
on both sides. And that's what we overcome with our filtering and navigating process.
Man, I love that. Those are absolutely important lessons to pass on to your customers. Now, what talk to me about some key lessons that you've learned from scaling other startups.
Um, as I said earlier about the CTO role, the people that get you to a certain level are not necessarily, some will,
Hmm.
same people who get you to the next level. So when you're in early stage, you're really just trying to figure crap out. Like you're just playing and you don't have product market fit. When you
Sure.
get product market fit, true product market fit and scaling, now you need people who are experts in areas of the business
Yeah.
where you can, and people who have the muscle memory of scaling. So your sales organization might go from 2 to 200.
Hmm.
Who are you going to bring in who has led the growth of a sales organization to that level? And what's the playbook in that organization that is repeatable and scalable? Same thing with marketing, same thing with operations and customer success. Those are
Absolutely.
really, and that's where a good board or a good investor who's taken companies to scale is very helpful in helping set that up. That's the biggest thing. Your
Yeah.
organizational change and letting people go who got you to where you are. And that's not easy. Yeah.
No,
Or
not at
maybe
all.
it's even you, right?
Exactly. Even you, because you need to step aside and let somebody who's more experienced take the company to the next stage.
Yeah. You may
Unless
be, yeah, go ahead.
unless you go do the training that helps you grow
That's right.
as well.
If you want to build a business or if you're passionate about what the business does, they're different things.
Hmm.
So if you are passionate, um, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, a great example. Steve Wozniak was just passionate about the technology,
Yeah.
Jobs about the user experience and the marketing. And that worked for a while, but Woz was all about the developers and Jobs was about the market, the
The
growth
outward
of the
marketing.
company.
Yeah.
And they separated as a result of that.
Hmm.
They had very different ideas about what products should be and how to deal with engineers.
Powerful, powerful. Now, let's move on to the next segment of, in the context of business leadership and efficiency,
Mm.
what kind of workspace improvements or tools do you believe could help founders optimize their performance and connection with their teams? Because we're talking about outsourcing, we're talking about uh, you know, working with remote teams. What is
Mm.
something that founders can do to have a better performance and connection with their teams?
That's an excellent question. Depends on where you're outsourcing to and your relationship with the agency. But obviously, in engineering, you need to have regular stand-ups,
Mm-hmm.
often daily, but definitely sprint cycles where you're coming back and demonstrating what you've built over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So continuous improvement, continuous development is the sort of theme of that, where you have your own engineering team or your own team regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
today my company is distributed across North America, and we get together once a quarter physically in
Mm-hmm.
order to build that culture of connection and understand that it's not a screen you're talking to, it's a human on the other side,
Yeah.
and they have feelings and aspirations too, and a job to do, and better understanding across those lines is critical. And doing that in person, I think, is unmatched as a mechanism for building a culture. So that's what I would suggest.
I love that. I love that so much. The last one that I want to take on before we take a break is,
Mm,
when it comes to scaling, having the right team in place is essential. And you mentioned,
mm,
we talked a lot about culture. We talked a lot about having the people that are going to take your company to the next level. How do you
mm.
approach that team building? And I think you gave a little look into, you guys meet up every once a quarter to have that culture built in. But for a remote first world, what qualifies or qualities should founders look for in their early hires?
Oh, in their early hires, it's back to Jim Collins, good
Mm-hmm.
to great, on the bus. You want the people who they don't just go from A to B. They
Mm-hmm.
are able to move as the bus changes course. And you really need people who are much more rounded and broad in their spectrum of flexibility and what they
Yeah.
can and cannot do. But as you get up the food chain into scalability, you need very specific roles. And what challenges for entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
what really challenges entrepreneurs is the emotional pull to knowing the person and knowing what they've been great at or what they've been good at, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
great at, and you need great. And
Yeah.
that's where that starts to pull away. And so giving the person training to be great at what they're doing and give them mentors to enable them to reach a higher level is
Mm-hmm.
critical. Because you as an entrepreneur are not going to have that
Yeah.
time or the expertise. You as an entrepreneur, you're really not good at anything generally. You're
No.
just
No. Yeah.
great at getting things going. So having people to help your team become great is the best way to keep them on the team, but be brutally disciplined about knowing what you need to get to the next level. So write that job description of the perfect person
Mm.
and then see if the people in your organization can grow into that role or if they already are great in that role. But don't try and build the role around the person. That's the reverse engineering that doesn't work
Yeah.
because the gap grows bigger as the company gets stronger.
So true. You're absolutely right. Human beings, we're constantly growing. I mean, we are 18 years into the smartphones that we've been
Hmm.
using. And guess what? They've been getting faster, but we're getting even faster because we're like, oh my God, this phone is slow already. I've had it for a year and now you're ready for an upgrade. So, yes, human beings are much faster to to grow. So having a role that somebody can grow into is absolutely something that I also look for.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
you definitely and it's not if you don't provide the both the training and the mentoring to enable that person to grow, then it's your fault that that person is not um is that you're going to let that person go.
Yeah. Powerful, powerful. Well, Sean, this has been so much fun. Let's take a quick break. And when we get back, you're going to share 3 practical hacks that entrepreneurs can implement in their startups.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back. We've been talking to with Sean over here from Outforce.ai. Now, Sean, our listeners love practical advice that they can put into action right away because it's going to help them create this connection. Oh my gosh, Sean told me this one hack and I'm implementing it. I should totally check out Outforce. That's going to be really powerful for me. So, can you share those 3 hacks that every entrepreneur could implement when they're looking to scale their startup?
Yeah, so number one is self-serving and it's really rent before you buy. Try to own. It's you don't need to hire the person. You can contract the person and then hire them. It's easier to let them go or
Mm-hmm.
search around. And fractional use of super high-end expertise is readily available on platforms like Upwork,
Yeah.
but also platforms like us if it's more team-oriented. it's a really good way to get to speed to implement your idea into market. And fractional use of chief marketing officers. There's all kinds of platforms for all these things
Mm.
that are now more available than ever and easier to filter through. So that's one is rent to own. Um, Number two is when you're hiring, hire for curiosity in the early stage. You want to find people who are continuous learners because your business is going to be very different from 1 year to the next, maybe even 1 month to the next. So you need people who are flexible. One of the questions I like to ask in interviews is, what did you learn about whatever expertise you're hiring for? And let's say engineering. What did you learn
Mm.
about coding in the last 6 months that's changed the way you write code? And if they stumble on that question, you know they're not a continuous learner and they're not curious enough. So they're out. Um, and then the third is you know more people than you think and lever your network. So you might have 1,000 people on LinkedIn, you might have 5,000 people on LinkedIn, but you probably have 100 that are really good connections, and
Mm.
you need to focus on those and go to those for advice, for more of their network, for whatever you can get. There's plenty that it's an unleveraged asset. A lot of people just keep looking forward and thinking they're starting from scratch. You're not starting from scratch. You'd be amazed at how connected people are.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of tools to leverage that as well.
Man, I love those hacks. Absolutely actionable and usable. Right now, I was like, what are those fractional places that I can find and bring people on? Because I recently brought a team on, and we're going through the preliminary stages of understanding what my business does and how we can leverage all of those things together so we can serve better our clients.
Right. Well, if they're, I can send you some links, and if you want to reach out to me, I'm SEAN Sean at Outforce.ai, and you can ask me
Perfect.
directly as well.
I love it, Sean. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next and the last segment of the podcast episode. These are the fun 6 questions. Now, Sean, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Skydiving.
Oh, yes.
You just put it out there in skydiving.
That is a scary one.
Yeah, I've done a lot of risky sports, but skydiving I haven't done.
Okay.
And I think I'm not going to do
No.
that.
There's a safer way to skydive. It's called iFly.
Yes, in the fans.
Yes, the
Yeah,
fan, you fly above the fan. It's really safe. It's really cool. I did it once and I'm like, I got this. I'm Superman.
yeah.
It was
And then you
fun.
fall down the side.
Well, there's a guy with you there, so they're kind of
Okay.
helping you figure the things out.
Yeah,
And it like with all things, right? You gotta fail first before you get better at it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, next up, what did you want to be when you were a child?
I wanted to be, well, when I was a little kid, the ambulances used to fly by and I wanted to go as fast as that car through traffic
Yeah.
with a horn. So I used to say, I want to be a doctor daddy with a blue ambulance.
Because then I can go
That was
anywhere.
that was my little kid thing, yeah.
I
And
love
mostly
it.
because I thought the doctors were driving the ambulance.
Nope, they're stuck in the hospital.
That's right. That's
I
right.
love it. All right, next up, what is your favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, I like dark stuff, Ozark, uh,
Oh, that's a good one.
like that kind of thing where it's this love hate you love and hate the characters in the middle.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, that those are I think are brilliant character sketches and take you through a journey. Yeah.
absolutely. I
Succession.
mean, in the show Breaking Bad,
Oh,
the
I
wife
couldn't even
played
watch that.
right. It's so hard because the wife
It's
played such a good role. You're like, you're such a good actor. I want to hate you.
yeah, and the judge, I mean, they're just terrible. They're torn, and
Yeah,
as the person watching, you are torn because
yeah,
the person's a terrible person, but there's some you kind of still want them to win somehow.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Next up, if you could play a movie uh, character, in any movie, what would you choose?
Similar to skydiving, Superman.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
Yep, coming to the rescue.
Super, super awesome. Which goes to the next question. Who is your favorite superhero?
Who is my favorite superhero? Yeah, it's probably Superman.
It's Superman. I
Yeah,
know it. I know.
yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm super Junaid, everywhere. It's my favorite too. Our last one. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Hmm, Ouija. I have
Ouija
very,
board.
very good EQ.
Nice. So you
I
can
read
read people.
people very well. Yeah, so
Nice.
I feel their energy and I know what they're saying.
So tell me what have you felt about me?
I think you're a very grounded person. I think you're just the tone of your voice is
Hmm.
very soothing and and you're very steady. Like you're a rock. That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much. I like a little ego boost every once in a while. So thanks so much.
All right, Junaid. Thank you
It's
very
been an
much.
yeah, absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today, Sean. Your insights into scaling startups. I mean, who would have thought that you have to actually scale startups? But the power of outsourcing is where you can definitely make that an amazing resource. And you've created Outforce.ai for that, specifically that purpose. Before we wrap up, where can people connect with you, and if there's anything else you'd like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, Outforce.ai is our website. We are the filter tool for finding and matching to the right agencies for engineering and data science. And there are other sources of doing that for marketing or other aspects of your business.
Mm,
But we are the quintessential, and I'm about to publish uh, what I call the definitive guide to outsourcing. So whether you use this or not, it will give you all the secrets we've learned in
nice.
the years of doing this as to how to ask the right questions of an agency, how to look, and all those other things.
I love it. Thanks again, Sean, for
Okay,
joining us today, for sharing your incredible journey. And to our listeners, remember, scaling your business doesn't have to be daunting. Take these lessons to the heart, and until next time, keep learning, growing, and hacking away at your hobbies and passions. Until
thank
the
you, Jim.
next time, thank you so much, Sean.